tell you guys, hey, just because Bitcoin shot up to the moon to 38,000 and came back down to 36,000, does that mean things are over? No, I reminded you guys that it's still according to plan to break out of this current channel. And once we do, just like all previous times, we start skyrocketing, right? So this is one way to look at it. Here's another way to look at it. What's happening right now is very, 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 very similar to 2 cycles ago. Okay, that's the one I came in where we formed a bottom. We tested this trend line a couple times, and then we started skyrocketing. That's what a lot of people are thinking this cycle. It's very similar to 2 cycles ago, not the previous cycle, because the previous cycle, we had this thing called COVID and the pandemic, and that kind of screwed up markets and screwed up the way Bitcoin was meant to move. But we are moving exactly, almost exactly identically to 2014 all the way up to the peak of 2017. We're moving very, very, very similar to that. And if we are following and we're mimicking that same period, that means Bitcoin should be hitting $50,000 by the end of this year, in the 50s, high 40s, 50s. Is that unreasonable? No, that's actually very reasonable. The way we're moving right now, we're already at 37,000, and that's without a spot Bitcoin ETF approval. Just wait until we get one. That's going to drive us to probably 45 to 47,000 already, and then we still have a whole month of Santa rallying to look forward to. So yeah, we're not even, we're about halfway through November, not really. We got plenty of time to get there. And then once we do get 50,000, well, then we look forward to 70,000. And then we look forward to a new high. Moving forward, why is there so much momentum right now? Why is Bitcoin pumping up to the moon? People caught on. Maybe Wall Street, maybe institutions caught on. Okay, or they knew all along and they're just, loading up. We have this window for the SEC to basically give the okay to not only one, but all 12 spot Bitcoin ETFs. So this, I believe, is the last time before the end of this year for an approval. The next window will be in early January. So that even if it doesn't happen this time, we're probably still going to continue to rally and then look forward to the next window in January, which again is just a couple months away. But there are a lot of people, including some important analysts out there from Bloomberg and others, that think that we have a very high chance of the SEC approving not only one, but all 12 spot Bitcoin ETFs this window. Very high chance. And if we don't get it this time, in January, it's going to be 90%, which is basically guaranteed. So it's either between now or January, and many people think it can be now. And Cathie Wood herself is buying a whole bunch of Robinhood stock. Why is that, you may be wondering? What does Robinhood have to do with Bitcoin and crypto? Well, it just so happens Robinhood just stated they plan on expanding crypto trading to Europe. And they're going to come out the UK brokerage. And they're going to allow users to buy and sell and trade spot Bitcoin ETFs when it comes out. You see what she's doing there? She is ahead of the game. And Robinhood didn't do so well recently, so their stock tanked. So this is also a good time to be buying because, again, you buy low and you sell high, right? So Cathie Wood is all in on Bitcoin. But we know it's not just Cathie Wood. The 12 applications include some of the biggest and largest asset managers on the planet, including Fidelity. They have 5 trillion in assets, BlackRock, 10 trillion in assets, and everyone else in between. Everyone wants a piece of this, and everyone is finally starting to pay attention. This is going to happen. We will get momentum before the next halving event, and we will get that huge parabolic run coming in 2024, 2025, and now other famous analysts and reporters and columnists are all talking about why 2024 is going to be so good. I am having a kickoff party in Vegas December 14th. So if you guys want to come out and meet me and other influencers that are into IFC, this is the spot to go. And not only that, Crowded Combat is going to be there. Their fighters are going to be there. I'm going to invite others in this space, other influencers, other projects. If you've been to one of my network parties before, it's going to be like that, but even bigger this time around. I have 3 different tickets. If you want to participate, you want to join, please do so. Use the code 25 off. You'll get $25 off. And for people that's been asking for a new NFT, if you go with the VIP program or ticket, you will get airdropped an exclusive I Am George NFT that will be included. Make sure you check it out if you are interested. This is in Vegas. Remember, what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. And you get to check out all the fighters, all the other influencers, myself, and all the major projects will be there. It's going to be a good party, a good time. So check it out. As economies around the world get weaker and weaker and weaker because of the crushing debt and crushing inflation, more and more people will be driven to the best asset there is, Bitcoin. There will be this flight to quality, flight to safety. There's none better than Bitcoin. So we will, as this cycle moves forward, see more billions upon billions upon billions flow into Bitcoin. This is just the retail side, but from an institutional side, it's going to be a lot more, not just from futures ETFs, but Bitcoin spot ETFs. Those are coming. BlackRock and Fidelity and ARK and 7 others. They will bring so much, trillions into the space from the institutions. We're barely off the ground, and that's great. As for supply, the halving event, in case you don't know what that means, every 4 years, the inflation rate of Bitcoin gets cut in half. After this next one, next year, only 3.125 Bitcoins will be released every block. That gets cut in half. But in case you're wondering, 93% of all Bitcoins that there will ever be, 21 million, have been mined out. The whole world is basically trying to fight over the last 7%. But here's the thing, that 7%, no one will ever get a drop of that. You know why? Because the miners, they are hoarding every single Bitcoin that they mine. They're not releasing any of it. They're not selling any of it. So actually, the whole world is fighting for what exists. And what exists, there's just not that much of. There's about 2 million on the exchanges. That's about it. Everything else out of the 19 point something million that have been mined are held. That's what people don't realize. When you realize that the supply is so small and you have 8 billion people and the largest companies on the planet that's trying to fight for that 2 million that exists, there's not enough to go around. For any other industry, any other commodity that exists, if we had the same situation with gold, with oil, with anything, the price would be in the moon already. But people still don't believe in Bitcoin, but they will. After this cycle, I think things are going to be very different. It's going to be impossible for anyone to ignore Bitcoin after this cycle. The game is going to change forever.